Hello, possible.
Let's start my morning routine.
Okay, starting your morning routine, turning your light, opening blinds, playing wake-up playlist, and the rest. Have a good morning.
Oh, I hope everybody can hear me okay and see me. Thank you. Morning. Morning. One sec, I'm just doing all my social media links. So if all my social media links, that's Trovo's okay, D Live's okay, just check VK. VK is okay. Hi guys, hiya. So, it's been integration month in Oldham. It's been one of the primary concerns since before the Oldham Bradford riots. And the Oldham Bradford riots, at the end, what they blamed it on, this is what my dad, other people have said to the council some years before the riots, they blamed it on integration and social housing. So, in other words, they're not integrating properly, and the social housing has kept them all into one area, turning it into a ghetto. And we know that this has happened in a lot of places throughout the UK. I'm just explaining about Oldham. So, the thing was, I wasn't politically active um, around the riots time 20 years ago. Can't be blamed on me. No lefties can say I'm making things up when that was already the thing there. So I've done integration month. Now, why did we have the riots? You know, what's up with the people coming to our country? Well, they're not integrating good enough. And we'll start by looking at schools. So this is a primary school in Oldham. Kids get a dismal start to school life at primary, where boys have dominated the playground, says report. Clarksfield Primary School investigated for alleged Islamist takeover plot has been deemed inadequate by Ofsted. Now, if you want to go further, you can easily Google up Clarksfield Primary School Ofsted and have a look at its reports. It hasn't done well, but let's just have a look what was going on at the school. Children at a school formally investigated for an alleged Islamist takeover plot are being given a dismal start to school life. So this is in primary school, It's practically 100% Pakistan. Ofsted has put Clarksfield Primary School into special measures, saying pupils are not safe. Points he made up: the way boys and girls relate to each other, with boys dominating the playground. We know that in minority Muslim communities, the men rule. We know this. Men have first choice and everything. Now, it's bred into them at an early age. It's bred into them at primary school age. Now, we go on about indoctrination of our kids. And this is what they're doing to our kids. They're indoctrinating them. Pupils with special education needs being taught in toilets. Poorly trained staff who don't speak English properly. Dangerous equipment such as a saw being left lying around. Expectations of the children being too low. Governors who have not held the management team to account because they are too busy deciding who should be the chair of the school. So there's no white people in it's not talking about any white people, it's not talking about any West Indians, it's not talking about any Indians, it's not talking about any Eastern Europeans. It's talking about one particular school that has one particular kind of people in it. Now, let's look at the poorly trained staff who don't speak English properly. Now, the support workers who got in to this school had just done the first level, the first test to being a support work teacher. They've not gone any further. They've not got any better qualifications. Just got in at the bottom rung to come in. And it's local women from around the area who can't speak English properly who come in, and all they do at that school is speak foreign unless they have to speak English for whatever particular reason. So our kids, minority kids in the UK, are being taught by people who can't even speak English properly. Just let that set in. I've met third generation Muslims who've got really bad English, really bad grasp on the language and everything. Inspectors brand every aspect of the school's provision inadequate, including teaching, curriculum, leadership. They warn the school is failing to give its pupils an acceptable standard. They warned the school is failing to give its pupils an acceptable standard of education. 6 months ago, it emerged that head teacher Patricia O'Donnell had alleged an organised Trojan horse-style Islamic takeover plot had been hatched against her. She told Oldham Council she'd been forced to work from home following death threats and abuse, including threats to blow up a car. The town hall's investigation found there was no basis to her claims of a plot. You really couldn't make it up. The council doing an investigation, they're obviously not going to come out with it. It gets better. It gets better. The report raises a string of criticism, including concern about gender roles. It says that in years 5 and 6, boys dominate the play equipment and the girls wait for their turn until the boys finish, and adds, this goes unchallenged by supervising staff who do little to promote gender equality. I've talked about the way that they treat women in the community. I've talked about how the council leader, Arut Shah, the way she got treated. talks about counsellor, the way she gets treated. So it's bred into these kids at primary school misogyny. That's what it's telling me. It's bred into these kids. So they don't get a good start. Already the boys are full of misogyny. Just remember that. The boys are full of misogyny. Let's just carry on going down. Children in the early years do not come to school regularly. You know, if you don't go to school, if any of you whiteys don't go to school, you get letters off the school. They're hassling you to get in. Why don't they do these with these communities? Political correctness. We don't want to upset them. When you're going to come to England, one of the things is integrating. Even before I became an activist, this was something that I'd seen that weren't happening. It's something that I've always talked about from whenever I came onto social media, integration. So primary school, to not get about this school. Father accused of Trojan horse plot, says Ofsted report vindicates him. Nassim Ashraf says he was accused of conspiracy after raising concerns about Oldham Primary, now rated inadequate. Now remember that name. Remember that guy, Nassim Ashraf. Nassim Ashraf. So it was like sort of like put on him that he was doing a takeover plot. You know, that now this article vindicates him, but he's definitely guilty, and I'll show you why he's guilty later. So it's just terrible. Special needs kids taught in toilets, the last on the list. In that community, they don't care about all they want is money to look after the ill and damaged kids. They don't care about them. Don't care about them. You'd expect that if that was my son or daughter, I would care about them, like I do care for my mum right now. But no, it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen in that community. And this report, 2017. So this happened about 2015, 16. That's 15 years after the Oldham Bradford riots, where a Muslim on my YouTube said that the council are making ways to teach the kids better, put more focus onto education of minority communities. Well, it's failed. It's failed. That's just one school. So that's a primary school. Yes, that's a primary school. Now let's just go and have a look at a secondary school. So the next school is a high school. So that we would say that that's like up to age 15 from 11, yeah? The failing Oldham school where bosses are too lax to keep its pupils safe. Ikra High School in Oldham has been rated inadequate by Education Watchdog Ofsted. A failing school where bosses are too lax to keep pupils safe has been slammed by Ofsted bosses. Special measures again, blah, blah, blah. A lot of the same, similar. There's a picture of the school, Iraqi High School. The report said children whose parents pay fees of £2,000 a year are underachieving considerably. Now, it's similar to the other school. The thing is with this school, right? When you look at the Ofsted report, I'll just get it up now. I just don't want to. you to think I make things up, right? That's what I really don't want you to think that. All right. So let's just get Ofsted report off. (2019). Good. Overall effectiveness at previous inspection before that one was inadequate. Shit school, this. Oh wait, that's not the one I need to have on. So, age range 3 to 11, gender mixed. Now remember that, it says gender mixed. Number of pupils 236, school capacity 250. Now let me just tell you, I don't know if this is 100% confirmation, but a source tells me that the council allowed this school as long as it were mixed. What they found out when they went into school, it's all girls. It's not mixed, it's all girls. So the Ofsted report says it's mixed, but the school is all girls. The minority Muslim community are not going to mix schools. It's going to be either girls or boys. So I would like to, something I'll try and find out if that's true. If that's true, that they got the school built as long as it were mixed, but it ended up all girls. That's what I'm being told off a pretty reliable source from that community, from the Glodwick community. But I don't know if that's 100%. I haven't seen it in any official document, and I have looked, but I haven't seen it in any official document. So the failing in primary school, the failing in high school, and this is the same, the teachers couldn't speak English properly. This is what we're faced, especially under the Labour, under Iraq High School, ICRA, especially under Labour. They just don't seem to care whether people integrate or not. And obviously, fueled with political correctness, these people get away with it. It's just not good enough standards. If you had your kids going to a school that they weren't that bad, you'd have pulled them out, you'd have kicked off, and something had been done about it. It's took Ofsted reports to get these schools signed up as inadequate or anything like that. And it doesn't stop there. Right? So one of the things was a guy commented on my YouTube, said, putting more money into schooling these kids and stuff like that. Well, so far, mate, whoever you were, I can't remember. So far, you're failing. So far, there's 2 schools that I've shown that are absolutely failing in teaching kids even the basic things, concepts of the English language and things like that. They're failing. Now, I'm not pushing the finger at Islam. I'm just pushing the finger at the Oldham Council for letting them get away with this. This is out for Labour are the ones who the people do these bad things and then they don't take serious action to sort it out. They don't do nothing. They've done this for 40 years. If Labour councils and a lot of councils in the UK would dealt with grooming gangs and not been so politically correct, we wouldn't be shouting about grooming gangs. If the councils had dealt with the issues in these schools and all that, maybe the kids would grow up a bit better. So these schools are not helping to integrate the kids. If anyone doubts me, you have to come on and show me something different. But I'm showing you Ofsted reports of inadequate. I'm showing you many media reports showing how inadequate these schools are. So that's not going to add to helping these kids integrate, is it? No, it isn't. No, it isn't. No one can tell me anything different. No lefty, no righty, no religious person, no councillor, no policeman, and no Labour member of Parliament or anything. No normal person in the street can tell me any different when it's all in black and white there. I've showed you Ofsted reports that show inadequate. I've showed you reports that are just absolutely disgraceful. So these are our schools in Oldham. So this isn't helping to integration, but it doesn't end there. It does not end there by a long shot. It does not end there. It does not end there. Just careful what you say. You're on loudspeak, but I'm live, so yeah. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm just doing my integration month video, so if you want to get on and give it a watch.
What, are you live?
I'm live right now. YouTube, Facebook, D Live, Truvo, everywhere. All right. See you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
All right, bye. James Goddard there's giving me a quick call. So yeah. So let's get to this school. $40 million of taxpayer money was pumped into this one school, and it was a complete disaster. Greater Manchester University Technical College in Oldham was shut down after just 2.5 years. A failed school shut by ministers, just 2.5 schools, blah, 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 blah. Ever since the closure was announced by local MP Jim McManaman, has been pressing government on exact cost of the failed experiment, which had aimed to give pupils 14 to 19. So this is after high school. This is when you're doing your GCSEs or your A levels, yeah. Vocation, focused secondary education, that state of art setting. Brand new school made. All that money pumped into that school. Well, the source I've got was a cleaner at that school. So they're seeing everything, a cleaner at that school. And I'm not doubting this guy's words because I've known him 40 odd years. I know his family well. He's one of my best friends, and I don't doubt his words. So he was a contract cleaner at the school when it opened. He saw the stuff he saw the absolute no respect for any of the teachers, especially off male kids. Yeah. People just didn't turn up to the lessons. It was like it was a walking centre, so they could come and go when they want. An absolute failure. The school was shut down after 2.5 years. My mate said they changed the teachers, got all one lot of teachers and got a new lot of teachers, and they were still there at 8, 9 o'clock at night doing the work and all that because the kids just aren't putting enough into it. So remember now we've got morning Matthew. So remember now we've got primary school kids not being taught properly. Then we've got high school kids not being taught properly. Then we've got this failed school here. No, but in its first exam results last summer, no pupil achieved a C or above in GCSE, English and Maths, and the average result A level was E. They're disgraceful. They're absolutely disgraceful. When this place is supposed to teach them for this, nobody got over a C in English and Maths. Why? This is what I mean about integration. How can we integrate when kids don't get any schooling? How do people integrate when they get shit schooling? When we let these people dominate their own schools and just take the piss. 40 million of government money went into that. 40 million that could have gone to some other services. 40 million that could have gone to the 40 million would be better have been spent on the victims and the survivors of rape, gang abuse, and supporting people and teaching kids about online safety and all that. That money could have been better spent there. For a start, could have been better spent on a failed school. So they failed at primary level. They failed at high school level. They still didn't realise, then went and made this school. So it was so 2.5 years. So it was 2015-ish. This pre-referendum. It doesn't say everything in the report. It doesn't say everything. My mate told me of teachers being threatened and other people to do with the school, but not kids, being intimidated, threatened, and talked to like shit all the time that the school were open. And the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, as well, I'd just like to tell you this. There is no English white kids in that school. If there is, they're absolute minority. These are minority children in that school. It's not no general white or West Indians or Indians. It's minority pupils, mainly of Pakistani and maybe Bangladeshi heritage. Now, a couple of years ago, a few years ago, I was near that school, 2016, and in the street there were 4 girls. 2 of them were small, and the other there were 5 girls. 2 of them were small on one side, the other 3. One of them was African, a tall girl, and they were arguing with each other, and it did look like it was going to come to blows. The big girl, the big African girl, had already pushed one of the smaller girls. Now, I think they were all around college age, 15 or over, yeah. And the 2 girls who were on their own, I think, I don't know for definite, but I think they were Bangladeshi. The other 3 girls looked like Pakistani and maybe African, Muslim in there, maybe Somali. I can't be 100% sure. And it looked like it was going to get into blows. I've gone over. The big African girl has told me that whatever's going on is nothing to do with me. Then I put out, well, it's a lot to do with me because they were all born in Oldham, and I'm sick of kids fighting each other. And I pointed towards an area when 2 girls, 14 and 15, had stabbed each other just down the road there. And I made these girls split up and go. This is the kind of thing we've got in Oldham, where different communities just are on warpath with each other all already. So 3 sets of school in there, from all the school age, from primary school to after secondary school, all failing in Oldham. This isn't going to help children integrate. It's not going to help the next generation integrate. Not at all. Not at all. Now, let's have a look at crimes. Let's have a look at some crimes now. Remember that guy, Nassim Ashraf, who was linked to the primary school takeover. Let's just have a look at some crimes. So I went through the school age, all through the school age, not getting taught properly. Four teenagers tortured a 16-year-old boy with a hot iron before pouring lemon juice onto his burns and sexually assaulting him. The victim suffered horrific injuries after being lured to a house in Werner Ferry of Oldham, where he was tied up with tape around his mouth, hands, and feet. Right, Werner Ferry's Pakistani area of Oldham. Look at the 4 lads; they're all from the Werner area. These are some of the pictures of the guy where he was burnt and all that lot. Now, the lad that did it on wasn't a white lad. He was a mixed race West Indian Caribbean lad. Well, he wasn't a white lad. Was another Muslim. He was a mixed race West Indian or Caribbean lad. That's who it was. And I believe that it was racially motivated. No matter what colour the victim was, it certainly was racially motivated. Nothing like that in the case. These guys plead not guilty. It's a normal thing. Guilty. 4 of them kidnapped him, tortured him, and sexually abused him. Sexually tortured him. Honestly, you just couldn't make up. These are 15-year-old kids. These 15-year-old kids. Now, it was a couple of years ago, but I reported on it at the time. I've been down to the I know the Werner area well, 2016, so it must have happened 2015. Let me just check. Yeah, so that probably be a case from 2015, maybe 2014. His attackers then stripped him of his clothing and took a knife to his back. After that, they used a hot iron to burn him on the buttocks, back, stomach, poured salt and lemon juice onto his burns. Eventually, after several hours of torture and being sexually assaulted, the victim was finally able to leave the house. On Thursday, 4 of his attackers were put behind bars for the sickening attack, which happened October last year. So, yeah, 2016. Yeah. Ashan Khan, 15, initially pleaded not guilty, but after a 2-week trial was found guilty of blackmail, false imprisonment, wounding with intent, ABH, theft, causing a person to engage in sexual activity without consent. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison. That's all they got was 5 years. I think one of them might have got 6 years. So, obviously, not being taught properly, got no values or anything. By the time they get into 15-year-old, they're ready to kidnap and torture people. It's just disgrace. This is in Oldham. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a true case, and this is in Oldham. What I'll try and do, I'll try and get hold of the victim. I'll try and get hold of the victim in this case. So I'm going to try and do. And over the next however long, I'll try and get hold of the victim, and we'll see if he will come on and say anything about the particular case. I'm not going to send no more than that, but that's what I'll try for. Mum's well, thank you, Betty. Mum's well. Yeah, well, we know the SCS very well. We've done a lot of work looking into it, and they've got a really good set of things, and they do really good seminars and talks to children. They've got it quite set up. These people were the first to be targeted by this, even before the Whiteys. Just remember that. So they've got a bit of skill on that side. So that's what they've done to his arm. Honestly, you just couldn't make it up. So I've showed you how they work in 3 hour in primary school, show you they're not getting a good enough education even in secondary school and high school. And it's leading to things like this. Now, while we're on this particular incident, we'll just research, we'll just Google up another. Oh, this, and by the way, this is a different thing. This is 2010, so 2009. Sadistic torture gang, including 2 men from Oldham, have been jailed for a total of 32 years. Zaya Hussain, 32, and Munir Ahmed, 31, from Glodwick, helped snatch 4 young men from Bradford before sexually abusing and beating them at the gang's stronghold in Coppice. This was against other Pakistanis, this, from Bradford. Ongoing gang feud. Zaya Hussain, 32. That rings a bell, that name. That absolutely rings a bell. Let me just get something up on the screen for you to have a quick look at. Let me just show you what's going on. I can find the StreamYard. So let's just take a look. Let's just take a look here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just take a look. I tell you, when Big John does something, it comes out. These things are already in the public domain. I'm not the one particular who's had anything in getting them out, but let me just show you this. Ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce you? And he's got a Labour rosette on. Can I introduce to Zaya Hussain, convicted kidnapper, gang member who tortured and sexually abuses victims. Oh, look, he's next to Arut Shah. Oh, and Arut Shah's brother, who's a convicted heroin money launderer. Oh, now. And if I'm correct, Zaya Hussain's in the middle with a white shirt on. I can see a little bit of red there. He's got a Labour rosette on. He has got a Labour rosette on. I'm guessing this will be after he's done his time for his convicted kidnapping, sexual abusing, torturing, and all that. So this guy was 32 in 2010. The lads I'm showed you a minute ago were only 15. So that's 2 generations who were doing the same thing. Were they? Was anyone else on this? Oh, good afternoon, James. Yes, focus on my screen, please. So Zaya Hussain, you can see a little bit of red. He's got a Labour rosette on. Oh, and he's next to Arut Shah now. When I become a councillor, obviously, he stood next to Tommy Robinson or Paul Gordon of Britain First. Neither of them 2 people I've just mentioned have done convicted kidnapping, gang member, or sexually tortured victim. They've never been charged with anything like that. Neither of them 2 people I've mentioned have been convicted of heroin money laundering. And none of them people I've said are right-hand man to killers of Dale Cregan. So just remember that. All you scum from Oldham who are going to attack me, from who I've been next to, who I know, just remember who our council leader knows. These are our best friends, these. So I've shown that primary school, they don't get taught properly. High school, they're not getting taught properly. They're failing in after school between 15 and 18 or 19. This is just the Muslim community in Oldham. It's just the Muslim community in Oldham. It's just in Oldham, this. It's not in Yorkshire. It's not in Halifax, it's in Oldham. But I don't doubt. Is he still on the run? Okay, now. Is he on the run here, or has he gone somewhere else, gone abroad like they normally do? Normally, these guys will try to get off. In the one about the Zahir Hussain, some of them tried to flee abroad. Honestly, these are kind of people who are growing up in Oldham, substandard schooling. It's all right for council leaders to know all these people and not say nothing. I do not know anyone who's done anything as bad as anything of the things on this pitch. I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone who's kidnapped anyone. I don't know anyone who's sexually abused the victims. I don't know any convicted money launderers. I don't know any convicted heroin dealers. I don't know any gangsters who were right-hand man for Dale Creek. I don't know anybody like this, me. I'm in the wrong business. Should I know people like that? I do not know anybody who's done anything like the kind of crimes that these guys have done. Right? I just do not know anyone like that. But when I become a councillor, all this will be thrown at me. Oh, racist Paul Golding, or racist Tommy Roberts. You've been on this march, and I just don't know people like these, me. I don't know any convicted kidnappers, sexual abuse, the victims. I don't know any heroin money launderers. I don't know any gangsters who were getaway drivers for people like Dale Cregan. I just don't have these kind of people in my repertoire. So I don't. Right, enough in the chat. Listen, it's a stream about something that everyone should be aware of. A lot of you will already know. And I'm just showing you that this goes on from primary school age. This goes on from primary school age. So I'm showing you two gangs who kidnapped and sexually assaulted victims from Oldham. Well-known people as well, well-known. So I'm no lover of faith schools. I'm absolutely no lover of faith schools, not in the slightest bit. I'm no lover of religious schools. I'm no lover of religious schools or anything. Now, I talked about Nassim Ashraf, yeah, right? He's the Oldham interfaith. One sec. Let me just get him up. Just bear with me. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Just bear with me. I'm only telling you the absolute truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's from the Gospel of Big John. This is Big John through and through. But these things have been going on years, guys, James. Years, and no one's done nothing about it. Not one thing. Nassim Ashraf, a member of the Oldham Interfaith Forum, which received funding from Oldham Labour Council, 18,000 this year, that's 2019, is behind the protest group complaining about same-sex education in Oldham schools, according to The Guardian. Even though his children are not affected, It's no to the sexualisation of children in Oldham. Now, I don't want the sexualisation of our kids neither, right? But this guy, let's just play the video.
Of lessons on same-sex relationships in primary schools. From next year, it will be compulsory for pupils as young as 4 to be taught about gay relationships.
The government plans have already caused protests in Birmingham, resulting in 5 schools cancelling the lessons. Well, Rahila Barno from the BBC's Asian Network reports. Pupils as young as 4 could be given compulsory lessons on same-sex relationships, and that's worrying for many Muslim parents who say the subject of homosexuality is provocative to Islam. Naseem Ashraf set up a WhatsApp group for Muslim parents, which has about 300 members, and he's raised their concerns with Oldham Council.
If the schools are not going to come on board, if the local authority is not going to come on board, it's not something we're going to be promoting. We're not going to be saying to them that pull your children out, but I can see that happening. I can see this leading to riots.
Protests against the lessons by Muslim groups began in Birmingham in January. So far, 5 schools have cancelled the lessons. In a statement, Oldham Council told us it's aware of people's worries and has been working with parents and schools and will continue to do so to allay these concerns. Dozens of meetings about the relationships and sex education law, which comes into effect from September 2020, have been held in various mosques and community centres across the country. One of the largest of between 300 and 400 Muslim parents was held here at the British Muslim Heritage Centre in Manchester in February. But a gay Muslim group says it's disappointed and says aspects of Islamic culture are homophobic.
It's been really disheartening because you forget how insidious this sort of view is in the community until it comes to the fore, and we often look at to liberal Muslims who don't believe that homosexuality is a sin or that children shouldn't be taught these things, but they are often very quiet, and so we're having to speak the loudest to combat the very loud voices that say opposite things.
The government told us it wants to teach the pupils the build.
Right, enough of that, but let's see what Chronic Oldham has to say. Naseem Ashraf, a member of the Oldham Interfaith Forum, which received funding from Oldham Labour Council 18,000 this year, 2019, is behind a protest group complaining about same-sex education in Oldham schools. According to The Guardian, even though his children are not affected, it's no to the sexualisation of children in Oldham, sexualisation being educating them about diversity and equality. But yes to the theistic indoctrination of children. Schools do not and should not feel they need to justify their curriculum to a man who does not believe in evolution, but is trying to push a religious agenda into relationship lessons in schools. Is it right that Naseem Ashraf, a member of the Oldham Interfaith Forum, which is supported by Oldham Local Council, public finances should go to the BBC TV and fantasise about the issue causing riots when he is clearly abusing his position and standing in the community and only supports equality from a religious perspective? And why are Sean Fielding's Labour administration and Jim McManaman and Deborah Abrams incapable and unwilling to challenge any form of extreme right-wing views other than Tommy Robinson's? So at this time, it was the MEP tour, if a lot of you remember, and James and Arlene are in the chat, and we came up to Oldham and run around after Jim McManaman, Deborah Abrams, Angela Rayner, and some other dignitaries in Oldham because they were doing a say no to hate. Meanwhile, this guy's started riots. He said that on telly. He's not being you know, counter-terrorism hadn't gone to him like that they did with me. I said I wanted a kebab house burning down to the ground. He's saying there could be riots again in Oldham, and he hasn't been seen by counter-terrorism. It's only right-wing people, but they don't realise that the views of the Muslims are extreme right-wing. That's what you just couldn't make it up. You couldn't make it up. If I'm against LGBT, then I'm a right-winger. They are definitely against LGBT. They are the right-wingers. So yeah, it's unbelievable. This goes on. So Nassim Ashraf was involved in the Islamic takeover plot in the primary school. Now he's here shouting for riots on the streets to do with Oldham. Now, this mirrors what's gone on in Batley. Some guys come from outside of Batley, whipped all the Muslims up into a frenzy, and they threatened the teacher with violence outside the school. So there is a good reason why I went to Batley. Whether I'm from there or not, it's a good reason I went to Batley. That's to stick up for all you whiteys and whatever in Batley when you can't see what's coming to you when it's happening in Oldham. So that's one of the reasons I went to Batley. And I ended up talking with Yunus. Hang on a minute, just let me find him. I'm just looking for his name. Can't remember. It's called Yunus anyway. Come over to me in Batley. And I talked to him about the LGBT. I said, I'm against it, but does that mean that we have to riot when I already seen my town? I don't know about other people where they live, but in the year 2000, a lot of us had to watch the area where we lived going up in flames, explosions. We seen all our buildings getting smashed up and things like that. And at the time of the riots, the West Indian Club was still in Glodwick. So yeah, we've seen all that. I don't know about other people what they've seen, but I've seen the place where I was born go up in flames. And now we've got minority communities kicking off again, and threatening that there's going to be worse. Now, I'm against LGBT, but I don't want to be rioting over it. I don't want to be burning anything down, and I don't want to be threatening anyone. Someone said to me the other day, am I a pacifist? You know, I think I am a pacifist. I think I am a pacifist, or going on that way, because I don't see, unlike other people, I don't see anything being solved with violence. I don't see that, mate. I don't see things being solved with violence. I do see things being solved with talk, but I don't see it being solved with violence. Now, I'm drafting up an email to all the councillors in Oldham, and these schooling things will be on that email. It's not me making anything up. It's not me starting all the trouble. This has been going on for over 20 years, ladies and gentlemen. Way before I was politically active, way before a lot of us in this thing were politically active. This has been going on. No one's done nothing about it. Our authorities, government and council don't do nothing about it. They don't nip it in the bud to stop it. Now, I have picked on one particular community there, right? But let's just go back. Let's just go back. We're talking about children. We're talking about schooling of children and what values they learn. Let's just get another one up. Let's just get another. Let's just get something else up. Let's just get. Just bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, please. Just bear with me. Absolutely, just bear with me. So remember, we're talking about schooling, and I've picked on a certain community, which is a Muslim community, but I'm going to go a bit further than that. I'm going to go to a different community now, a different immigrant community that's coming into our country. I'm going to go to the Eastern Europeans. That's where I'm going, Eastern Europeans. Now, just bear with me. Just let me get the particular article. You know, I find the article dead quick when I'm not looking for it, but it just takes some time. Well, so the figures I'm looking for now are ONS figures. These are the general local council figures. Anyone can get hold of these kind of figures through freedom of information requests and things like that. Now, obviously, if there's some figures that don't look good on the council, they're never going to mention them. You can get hold of them, but they'll never mention them. But these figures are right. Here we go. 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 I've got it. I definitely got it now. So let's just. It's only a little bitty article, but you'll get what I'm saying when we get to it now. So so on the screen now, 9,490 applications made by EU nationals living in Oldham for the EU settlement scheme have been concluded. Up to June 2020, with 60% of the applicants living in the UK for less than 5 years and 30% of all applicants aged under 18. So let me just explain that. So out of all the people who came, 30% of them are under 18. Now, obviously, at primary school age, they'll end up going to school and learning. But what happens about the kids who are aged between 16 and 18? Are they going on to secondary school or anything? Do they already know English here already? So that's 30% of that total amount of people who came. Up to 30% of that 10,000 are children. So do they know English? Have they been in school? Can they speak English properly? What you'll find out, a lot of them don't end up going to school. Just come over here with whatever skills they've got, and that's it. They don't go to school. They don't learn English properly. I can't see a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old of Eastern European descent going to school when they get here. This is what I mean about integration. It's so much bigger than one particular community. Yeah, so it's a different communities are like this. And I've just picked on the two worst communities in Oldham for exactly that kind of thing. So 30% of all applicants are aged under 18. Yeah, a lot of them might be under 16, but what about the ones who were aged between 16 and 18? Have they been to school? Do they know how to speak English? Are they going to go to school when they get here? Do they go back and learn stuff? No, they don't. All that's to lack of integration. And what we know as well through the Eastern European immigration is they're not integrating. They created ghettos on the Ashton Road, top of Ashton Road area has been turned into a ghetto. We've got the Pakistanis on one side saying on Facebook they're going to go over to the other side of the road and burn them all out of their houses. That was about 4 years ago. I reported the post and it got took down. But before that, I got threats because I said, I come on the post and said, you can't say that. It's got to be dealt in a different way. And there was all stuff about my mum said, my family, I'm a racist, I'm a scumbag, for pointing out that they can't go across the road burning other people's houses down. Honestly, you just couldn't make it. This is Oldham. You just couldn't make it up any worse. This is Oldham. I'm good, Alistair. I hope you're all right. So there is a link on the site to the figures, the ONS figures. I go on Chronic Oldham a lot. It always tells me a lot of stuff. So there's no integration there at any level of the schooling, any level of the schooling. What you'll end up finding second, third generation Muslims who just sound like they've just come from Baghdad. That's what you get. That's what you get. So there's no integration. That's not integrating. It's not integrating into our community. We've got them threatening riots. That's not integrating. We've got the kids at different age levels. I've showed you 4 15-year-olds, and I've showed you a guy who was 30 odd. Different age levels. And I haven't finished there. This is the bit I'm putting up next. It's got to be one of the worst non-death attacks that I've ever known in my life. The Freehold tram station in Oldham. There's 3 of them. There's 3 lads involved in this, all like age 15, for attempted murder after sickening TV show teens kick and stamp on a passenger 100 times, leaving in a pool of blood. It was a white guy, 57-year-old, I think. Horrified passengers found the man unconscious in a pool of blood after thugs landed over 100 blows on his head and chest. Last night, Greater Manchester arrested 2 yobs on suspicion of attempted murder, along with a third boy of a suspicion of assisting. Now, I was with War Kettle Jason. I was in Jason. War Kettle is called. And we was on the way up to Oldham from Manchester on the tram, and it was PAG UK, DFLA in Rochdale. And it's the first time I met Billy and Linda, God rest her soul. And so I was coming up on the tram, and some guys overheard us. And there's a black African, he is. He's took his headphones off and And he said, I was on the tram at the time, he said, and the tram on the other side of the road, the driver managed to get out and go over to the lads. That's when they run off. But he said all the women on the tram were crying. They'd witnessed every little bit of this. They'd just witnessed, right? The women on the tram were crying. The men were upset. The men on the tram were upset. They were trying to break the windows and force the doors open to get out, to get to the other side of the tram. Now, if you know anything about the trams, the doors they were opening weren't on the platform side. And there's about a fucking 8-foot drop to the ground before you can get off that way, rather than the other side where the thingy was. So that's what was happening. The guy said himself it was he'd never seen anything as brutal. This is a black African guy. Obviously, he's an immigrant, but this is what he told us, and I have no reason not to believe him. We know the evidence is there was CCTV footage about all this, and there's other things in the articles about the witnesses and how they felt. But this is what he said. He said all the women were crying who were on the tram at what was going on across the road. 100 times to this guy's head and body. Right, and you really, and right. Well, this is an early report. I need to get to the actual police, what the police said. I can't find it, but the police, the guys said to the police they did it because they felt like it. This is 15-year-olds. Remember, they're not being taught properly anyway. They're not learning English and values at school. I've proved that with the primary school, the secondary, all these schools go to, not learning anything. The police said they did it because they felt like it. So the guy who talked to us, I asked him what started it off. Now, no policeman has told me this. Somebody's come forward, said he was a witness to this, and there's an African immigrant, black guy. And I've asked him in front of Jay, why did it happen? Now, the lads were on the tram and was being a bit noisy and stuff like that. And the guy just asked them to settle down because there's a lot of stuff on the tram about antisocial behaviour and that. And I've seen it myself with the teenagers, antisocial behaviour. And that's what he said. And the guy just not swore at him, he'd not threatened him or anything. The guy got off and they did that to him 100 times to his head and body. Oldham top cop says more police on the streets after a spate of serious attacks. He spoke out of several attacks. He spoke out the Durka tram station. Guy was dragged out of his car, beaten by Amma Muslims, brown people. I know that the witness, that's what he said in the report about that particular thing. Freehold, Failsworth, brawling with kids at Failsworth, gangs of youths at a fun fair in Failsworth. So that wouldn't have been one particular ethnicity. That would have been a few different. Could have been a white gang, probably black gang, a Muslim gang. There've been different ethnicities, and I've talked about the children in general in Oldham on antisocial behaviour. There's kids getting on the tram at the Durka stop to the Shaw stop and riding on the back of the tram thing. And then trams must weigh about 20 tons. One of them is not going to stop quick. You know what I mean? This is what's happening in Oldham. The tram lines are a disgrace. It's just it's veins of an artery system and all that lot that just feeding crime throughout Greater Manchester. We've talked about the Spice Stop. South Chatterton was nicknamed the Spice Stop because that's where they were coming to get the spice going back into Manchester and stuff like that. LGBT beatings across the tram line. Rochdale guy caved in by 8 Asians at Rochdale Town Centre, LGBT, nearly died. Oldham, King Street, 2 LGBT caved in again by brown people, Muslims. The town centre is a high Muslim area, a lot of Muslim shops, so you're not going to do well being LGBT. That's just in Oldham. We've talked about freehold stop here. Then there's loads of it. All across Manchester, that tram line is just they have private security on the tram lines. I'll hang on, I'm going to look at the comments now. I've not been looking. So there we go. There's a lot of stuff that can relate to integration there. The schooling especially, and I'm no lover of faith schools. I've talked about it before, but I don't care what faith school, Jewish, Christian, Muslim. I've got an issue with all faith schools. There's issues in Hackney with unregistered Jewish schools, and it's been an issue for ages, and no one's doing nothing about it. The kids are getting substandard. They don't learn any kind of English in these Jewish schools. Now, I'm not particularly having a go at Jewish people. I'm having a go at any faith school. You live in England, and we have rules and we have values here. We have an Ofsted that looks after schools. So why have we got unregistered or illegal faith schools running in England when we're supposed to? It's been a big issue of mine for years. And I don't care what ethnicity you are, I don't care, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, whatever. You live in England. And in England, we have values and we have rules. And we're not having people, it doesn't matter what ethnicity, religion, having illegal or unregistered faith schools. When my party becomes a party, if I get any power, I'll be addressing. That'll be one of the major things I'll be addressing, and I'll be closing them down. Now, I did actually get in sort of like the lefties made me out to be a bad way because I said about unregistered Jewish faith schools, and they said, "Oh, well, the religious." No, they're unregistered, guys, unregistered and illegal. That's 2 words I've said: unregistered and illegal. And through loopholes, they get away with having these schools. So Muslims get away with having, Islam gets away with having schools that promote the beating of women in books in Birmingham. These Jewish schools get away with the kids not learning to speak English or any kind of British values, and they learn anti-Western values in these schools. We're not having that. We're not having that. The Christian schools, worst I think you'll get out of the Christian schools is anti-LGBT sentiment. But in the scale of things, the Christian religious illegal faith schools is at the bottom of the pile. It's at the bottom of the pile. I've put these figures up before, and I put the percentages up. It's at the bottom of the pile. Top of the pile, you've just got Jewish and Muslim, or Muslim and Jewish. I've got an issue with that. We all should have an issue with that. I've showed you how religious-based schools in certain areas are giving the kids a bad education, which doesn't help them to integrate, which we end up with sexual abusers and torturers and things like that in our community, and it's not going to stop this. So my emails to do with the council, I'll be bringing up this schooling thing about integration. Again, it's nothing to do with me. This has been going on before I was politically active, before a lot of us were politically active. So, and I'm just pointing out the failures, the absolute unbelievable political correctness that's gone into this, stuff like that. These kind of things are happening in Yorkshire, but they've managed to keep a lid on it so far. If I remember correctly, there was a school where there was gangs of Africans, gangs of West Indians against gangs of Muslims outside the school and Eastern Europeans. And that's how it was portrayed in the article. And people who live in Oldham will remember Breeze Hill and remembered what that ended up like before it got shut down. that's all like ended up like that. Just gangs going round. I heard stories of people being knifed, guns being pulled out at Breeze Hill School. Knives was a regular thing. They had to beef up security and stuff like that. There's probably some crimes that have been committed that I don't even know about to do with Breeze Hill School. So just absolute failures in our school system that's ending up with us having backwards kids in our societies, unfortunately. The tram driver, when he got out and approached them, that's when they ran off. And the names and the kids don't come into anything, right? But I can tell you something. The area where the hours weren't, the area where these kids ran off to was a Pakistani area. So I can safely say, I can surely say with accuracy that them 3 lads were Pakistani youths. And they were from the Werneth or around that surrounding area, right? Because they ran off in different directions. They didn't run off in one direction, like to go and get a taxi and go somewhere. They ran off in different directions, right? So tram killed that guy from the Piccadilly Rats. What's all that about, Matthew? Well, the thing is, Gavin, my own political party, because there's no political party that want to do the things that my party wants to do. Even the right, the far right ones for Britain, no good. And it's starting off, it is a national political party. It's starting off local because I want to vote, me. And I'm not a for Britain person. Britain First have only just gone. I've only just got the registration. When I were in before, I would have run for it, but they just weren't a political party. And I want to run under a political party. So I'm going to start my own up. And all we're going to do is try and get people to run. I'm an experienced activist, canvasser, and stuff like that. I've had experience in the elections, being a vote agent and stuff like that. We've got people with experience helping us out, like helping us out, who've got a lot of experience in voting, and that's how we're going to start. That's how we're going to start. I'm not in it for any. Like I said, we'll be a bona fide or on the register political party. And if I'm going to run in elections, I might as well be the leader of my own political party. That's it, leader of my own political party. So it's been integration month in Oldham. Jeanette, everything's okay. Thank you. The move went very well. Oh, society, yeah, you do, mate. Yeah, you do. If you're on Facebook or anything, you'll have to message me, and I'll give you my number. So, integration month in Oldham. There's no integration. I've shown you all this. I've shown you the evidence. I've shown you what the schools are like, teaching the kids who don't learn basic English. They're being taught by people who don't know how to speak English themselves. What's that going to cause? And if we look in that society, in that, it just got money for their community. All they did, we got these women to pass the lowest of the support teacher things they had to do and throw them in as support teachers. Couldn't even speak English properly. Really, honestly. And your taxpayers' money is going to this. Wherever you live in, whatever town, your taxpayers' money is going to people like this, giving them a shit education and everything. And you know, it just needs to change. And I tried to talk to when me, James, Joel, and Diane, and we went up to Oldham and we met Jim McManaman. I tried to talk to a guy about this religious thing, the protesting against the schools, and he was Muslim. He went, I don't know what you're talking about. Where's the links to it? It was going on. It'd been on the news, and the guy denied it. This is what they're like in Oldham. At the time, I wasn't a registered voter. Jim, I'm not talking to anyone unless you're a registered voter. Well, mate, well, can I just tell the 60 councillors in Oldham don't need 60? Tell all them people with MBEs and OBEs that don't deserve it. None of you immigrants in Oldham deserve an OBE or an MBE. I can prove that. Councillor Abdul Jabbar, Coldest Ward, 26 years Labour. His ward is one of the poorest in the country, and he's got an MBE. What, an MBE for making his ward poor and keeping it poor? Misogyny in his ward in Coldest. It's a disgrace. And they give these people MBEs and OBEs like the water. I'm going to mention that in the email as well. I'm going to mention that in the email as well. And I've said it, and I'm pandering to minority communities when the minority communities should just get on with it. No one ever hears anything about the Indians because they get on with it. And their kids learn, their kids go to school. I don't know of any Indian, illegal, unregistered faith school that teaches the promoter beating of women. There's just nothing. I can't find anything to do with them because they integrate. The other people don't. The people don't. West Indian community in Oldham integrated. The kids all went to school, learned English. You know what I mean? Some of them now want to run as councillors, integrating well. Yeah, well, you know what I mean? We're not having it in Oldham. We're not having it. I'm not having it anywhere. It'd be something I bring up in the email to all the 60 councillors and the MP. From the 1st of December, I'm officially on the electoral register in Oldham. So I'll get my set, and you'll all be getting an email off me. I don't threaten anyone. I don't have to threaten anyone. What speaks for me are my words. That's what you fear. You fear my truth, and you fear my facts. You fear that people are listening to me and waking up. Even one of the independent councillors have put misogyny on his point plan to deal with in Oldham, because I've been going on about it for about fucking 6 years. That misogyny crap in Oldham, and finally an independent put misogyny on his point plan to do with the council, because there's only me been speaking about it, no one else. Honestly, you independent councillors need to, some of you need to grow a pair of balls and speak what needs to be spoken about. None of you say anything about political correctness. None of you. Not one independent have I seen do a post about political correctness in Oldham. Not one of you. Not one of you. And this political correctness thing has been going on since before I was politically active. It's been going on for 30, 40 years. We've got articles in the Sun 10 years ago saying that in the media saying how politically correct Oldham is, but no one says nothing about it. No one says nothing about the woman being set on fire in Bury, burning to death during the day. No one says anything about it when it's minority communities. I'm going to swear now. Fuck that. Right? If you're a minority community, you need to integrate better into England, because you're just causing problems for every other community. That's what you're doing. It's not a one community thing. It's all communities are affected by this lack of integration, lack of standing up, and lack of saying what's going on. All the communities are failed by it. Every single community, whatever community you can say, whatever religious group or anything that's in England, you're all being failed by political correctness. It's digging a wedge more between our communities to break us up. And you're all blind. The thing that you like to say is racist this and racist that. That's all you like Neil Wilby. That's all you say is racist things. I've just given you absolutely bang on, precise, 100% million, trillion% facts. I've shown reports, detailed reports. I've given you other evidence and stuff like that to show you that we're failing in Oldham with our integration. And it doesn't affect one community, it doesn't affect two communities, it affects all communities. I've said this one thing I've said all the time, all communities. Political correctness isn't just between white and black. Political correctness puts a wedge in between every stinking community we have in the UK and just drives them further apart. the sooner we admit to these things, the sooner that we say these things that are happening, the sooner we call them out, the better we will be at solving the solutions of our segregated communities in the United Kingdom. Thank you very much. Sunday morning, Big John's on one. No. John, the thing is, lefties blame the Tories for criminal behaviour. They say that Tories put them into poverty. That makes them. They're in poverty already, Alistair. They're in poverty already. The Romanians are one of the poverty classes of Europe. You don't have to tell nobody. You don't have to tell anyone that. The Pakistanis and the Bangladeshis from the South Asia, they're the second class citizens. They're the poverty areas. Mirpur, where a lot of them come from. This is the lowest dregs of society from over there that are coming here. It's the poverty we're bringing in, and what comes with poverty is crime as well. Remember, I mean, I did do a couple of things about this, but imported crime and stuff like that. They're already in the poverty class. These people were imported. People coming here, especially Romanians, are already in the poverty class. There is no Romanian doctors and nurses. There is no Romanian policemen. Not like there might be more of some. The Romanians are the poverty class. They're the lowest. They're unskilled. The majority of them are unskilled. There might be one or two doctors, but there isn't a lot, and they're unskilled. And when they come here, they don't grow skills all of a sudden. They just crime will get committed, social deprivation, and the things that you say in poverty and art because of coming here. And there's no work in Oldham, neither. So yeah, thank you very much for this Sunday morning tune in. I hope it's been factual. There is links if you go to my Twitter and my Facebook. That there is proper media links to everything I've been talking about. I've spent a month throwing a lot of this stuff up on Twitter. You can see it there. But we've got serious issues of integration now. If we're not going to kick everyone out of the country, people have to learn to integrate better. So that means no illegal or unregistered fair schools. I do not support giving money to any kind of fair school. I don't support it, right? Now, if my party had a vote, whether people wanted to give money to these, I would be part of that vote, but I would vote no. I would be on the role of the atheist and the secular society, is that we're not having these illegal or unregistered fair schools. We're not having fair schools. Everyone should go to their own school, to a school, a mixed school where they learn English and they learn proper skills so they can go out and work. Not like learning how to sexually abuse and torture people. And remember, it's that's Arut Shah's bestie, that with a Labour badge on, with a Labour thingy on. Now, does that mean I can go on like? Does that mean I can get convicted? Does that mean I can get convicted? Let's say I'm just trying to think who I can get into being part of my party who's convicted, someone who's done a terrible crime or someone who's kidnapped. I'll have to go and find a whitey who's kidnapped someone, who's sexually tortured someone. I'll give him a beret for my party. That's all right because the Labour leader in Oldham does it. She's all right to be on. He's all right to have a Labour badge when he's a convicted kidnapper and sexual torturer. Yeah, well, I think I'll look into getting somebody like that on my side. You what? Now, if I had somebody linked to me who'd been done for anything of the similar things that Zaya Hussein had done, it would be all over national news. Labour would be putting it out everywhere. Well, just remember, Roopshire and Oldham Labour Council, that I'm not scared of not putting things out, and I'm not politically correct. And if I have to stand up in the council chamber, factually assure you something and read it out off the ONS figures, I will do. You're going to hear it off me. I'm not going to be silent. I'm not going to be silent. And if you still carry on with putting me down and all that, that will be the worst thing that you'll ever do. Because as soon as people see you doing that to someone who's speaking the truth in Oldham, Labour are wasted. Labour are going out anywhere. Labour are going out anywhere. They're going out anywhere. Even the Muslims have stopped voting, are changing and not voting for Labour. Let me get that in for you. In Oldham, even the Muslims, the Pakistani and the Bangladeshi community are not voting Labour, and they're changing the votes because they know that Labour is just destroying everything and putting a wedge in. There's bound to be some Muslims out there who 100% agree with me. They can't say anything. They can't say anything. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going. Thank you for your time and all that lot. I'll catch up with you all soon. Where have you gone? Yes, Peter. Society. You'll have to message me on Facebook or something. I am on Telegram. Right, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in, listening to me rabble on. Some interesting things there, some shocking things that I've showed you, but this is going on, and it's still going on. It's going on all the time. I showed you 2 incidents there, one from 2010, where people have been kidnapping, sexually abusing victims. I showed you one 2016, 17, same thing. So, you know what I mean? It's not like just in one era. It's not one generation, it's a couple of different generations. But anyway, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll catch up with you all soon. Thank you.